Good Saturday evening. It is December the 16th, 2017. Welcome to this week's weekly weather briefing where we do have a lot to get to. You can tell it right here. So let's just go ahead and get started. Here's those weekly highlights, what we have to look forward to this upcoming week. Saturday night or tonight and Sunday morning, we're looking at rain chances to be moving in. And they are pretty good rain chances, but the rainfall totals do look to be pretty light. We'll take a look in depth at that. We also have another rain chance that is slowly increasing for the day on Wednesday. The long range is looking very unsettled. We'll have to take a very in-depth look at that as well. And for the week, we do have above average temperatures and below average precipitation. That rain chance moving in for tonight, this radar depiction from the HER model is for 6 a.m. on Sunday morning, and we have a light, steady, cold rain moving in for the overnight hours. The time of concern is from 2 a.m. on Sunday to what this should say 12 p.m. on Sunday afternoon. And we have isolated showers that are possible outside of that time frame as well. We might see some more isolated showers moving in on Monday morning as well and in the day on Monday afternoon. But some light totals expected from this. We'll look at that right here. We're anywhere from a tenth of an inch to around a quarter of an inch of rain at the most. But this is a very light rain event. Beneficial, though, because we haven't had any rain in a long time. Additional rain chances moving in for the day on Wednesday. If we see any rain, if being the key word here, it would be on Wednesday morning and early afternoon. Light totals, if we see any rain with this one. I didn't want to put any rainfall totals up with this system just quite yet because I'm not even sure if it's going to rain yet. But if we were to put the rainfall total map up, it would show the heaviest rainfall totals, obviously, to our south because the southern area of the entire purchase area is standing the best chance at this point because this system is a southern event, and the northern fringe of it is what is trending northward. Over the last couple of days, this guidance from the GFS model has been trending northward and a little bit more potent with the storm system as well. No cold air to work with, though, so if it does rain, or at least if anything does fall, it would be in the form of rain. Above average temperatures for this week on Tuesday, pretty incredible. The entire lower 48 is looking at above average temperatures for the 12 p.m. hour on Tuesday. On Thursday, though, things begin to change quite dramatically. The entire northwestern half of the United States is looking at below average temperatures, while we do have above average temperatures spilling ahead of what I drew was a cold front, and this is going to draw that division from warm air to cold air and is going to make for a big key player going into the Christmas weekend. Below average precipitation for this week as well, as that heaviest rain stays off to our south, so will the above normal anomalies for precipitation, and that is going to leave our region pretty much high and dry for the week for the most. Here in the long range is what we're going to look at now. So for this upcoming weekend, and also including Christmas Day, there is going to be the possibility, and once again, possibility is the key term, for a winter storm in the central United States. And some of the things that are coming together to possibly make for this winter storm is a slow-moving cold front that I showed you just a second ago. That front may become stationary because of a southeast ridge that might block the pattern and will slow everything down. And with the cold air at the surface moving in at the surface from that cold front, it will allow for overrunning precipitation because of that warm air moving in over top that cold front, and the cold air moving in at the surface is going to allow for a division in the temperature department across the United States, and is going to set up, we think, for precipitation to break out across a large swath of the central United States. This possible setup, notice again, I put possible in all caps to emphasize that this is not something that we're set in stone on yet. It might not even do anything in the entire central United States next weekend. But here's what it looks like at the 500 millibar pattern. That southeast ridge right here is being pretty much squashed by an area of low pressure that might be moving off to the north and east in portions of southeast Canada by this time. And we have a southeast ridge that is going to be pumping in that warm air as well over top that cold front. And we have cold air moving in at the surface thanks to this core of cold air moving southward that allows for an ice potential. When you have cold air at the surface, warmer air moving in over top of it, it allows for an ice potential, especially when you have precipitation to work with. That cutoff low that is possible, the 18Z GFS guidance, this is the 12Z map that you're seeing right here, but the next run after that, this evening's run took away that cutoff low. So if we don't see it, then it will actually enhance the threat for more rain and not anything in the form of ice or snow. But if we do see that cutoff low, it drags that cold front a little bit further to the south, which means we see more cold air to work with that precipitation, so possibly more snow and ice rather than rain in this entire setup. So we see all of this coming together. A sharp temperature gradient equals precipitation. We already discussed that for that cold front. If we correlate all of that from the 500 millibar map to a surface map and what the radar correlation would be, this is not exact. Please do not take the specifics. It really hurt me to even put this on here anyway, but I feel like the audience that is seeing this is responsible enough to take this into consideration and handle it the proper way and know that this is not going to be the exact radar readout going into the 12 p.m. hour on Saturday. This is just a possible correlation of what this could really look like anywhere across the United States, particularly in the central United States going into next weekend. We have high pressure at the surface, a very strong high pressure at that is going to be moving southward very slowly. If it moves in quicker, it will eat away that precipitation as the drier air moves in quicker. We also see a northeast surface low. We already discussed that, but here's what it looks like on radar. The leftover snow showers in southeastern Canada moving away. We have a cold front right here that we've already discussed about as well, and it is going to be slowly moving southward, but the timing on where it moves south and where it stalls out, all of that is to be determined. And we have that cutoff low right here at the surface as well. This cutoff low will be really producing a lot of moisture out and ahead of it. Mexico is a very dry area, but it is very close to the Gulf of Mexico, so it is going to be a big source player into this. A lot of the moisture will be feeding out of Texas and out of the Gulf of Mexico into portions of the Mid-South, the Ohio, Tennessee valleys. The point is, a very complex pattern moving in. I didn't want to spend a lot of time on that, so hopefully I didn't, but I just wanted to really emphasize that this is a complex pattern. Details are unknown at this point, and by this point in the weekly weather briefing next Saturday, we might not be looking at anything because there is a small chance that there isn't a system at all. The European model thinks there isn't, and the point is to just monitor updates moving forward. As always, please do not be posting snow and ice total maps that you find all over Facebook and the internet, and be sharing them, because when you share them, even though you might have not been the person that you posted that map, if you shared it, you're supporting that map, and so please do not do that. You're really putting a wrench into the entire community when you're trying to allow forecasters to forecast for a specific area. You really do put a dent in that when you do that, because you take your point of view and what you think is going to happen based off of a silly snowfall and ice total map put on the internet is going to stick with viewers and stick with the community's mind more than that forecast that the meteorologist makes that is going to be way more accurate than that snowfall map that you posted that is historic and won't even happen. So I think that you scare the community a little bit more when you do that, so please just, if you're watching this, do not be doing that over the next week, because a lot of maps are going to be posted around and going to be shared and tossed around from hand to hand and from screen to screen. And if we can handle it the proper way and just ignore those and focus on actual people meteorologists, then we will avoid all of those problems. Notice how we see a warm-up for this week. Here's the 16-day temperatures, by the way, and we see a very large cool down going into the very end of the month. We're not looking at specifics such as 41 degrees on Christmas Day. That more than likely will not verify. We are looking at the overall pattern that this is going to be a colder regime moving in for the very final days of 2017. As we look at those 7-day precipitation totals, we notice that we see around a half inch for the most part if we look at the rain moving in tonight and any rain that might move in on Wednesday, but we add in the beginning of that multi-day precipitation event possible next weekend. Going out to around 6 p.m. on Saturday, we're looking at around 3/4 of an inch to maybe up to an inch of rain. But even if we see a system, we still don't even know the timing down on it just quite yet. We know the general idea that it will be around next weekend, but we don't have the timing down just quite yet. The GFS 12Z guidance thought that this is going to be a 5-day snow and ice storm. So there is a lot of model differences right now. The CFS, or the Canadian model, says all rain. The European model says we get nothing besides maybe some light snow showers around Christmas Day. And then we see the GFS model, who has been very bullish for every single run over the last week, with the exception of a couple of runs, just showing run after run. Very, very crazy, wild ideas that have happened before in the past, but this is still a week away, so we still have a lot of time to monitor this. Tune back in on Twitter and going into the upcoming week as we monitor this potential winter storm.